So welcome to our August virtual luncheon. We will be talking about court reports. We have went through a couple of changes. Once we get to the actual screen, you will notice that there are some similarities and some differences. So first, I want to start off by congratulating Susan White. You are our volunteer spotlight this month. Congratulations.
Yay! Go, Susan.
Thank you. That's my headdress. That's my tattoo on my leg.
I picked it just for you.
Thank you. That's the tattoo that's on my leg.
That's why I picked it up for you.
Okay, what did I do?
Congratulations, Susan. Next up, we have a couple of birthdays. We have Miss Karen Gregory on August 10th, Pamela Edwards on August 11th, Melissa Mendoza August 13th, Amanda Wendell August 18th, Patricia Mejia on August 25th, and Marla Darlick on August 28th. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I will
Happy birthday,
not
Marla.
sing for you guys.
Oh, come on, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Nobody
Thank you.
wants that. And we have lots and lots of anniversaries. We have Shimri 1 year, Arpitha 3 years, Rick Streeter 3, Charlene 4, Nitzia 4, Deborah 4, LaShondria 4, Melissa 4, Cindy 5 years, Lisa Breach 10 years, and Miss Diana Sneed 11 years. So thank you guys very much. Oh wait, Susan White, sorry. I apologize, you're down at the bottom. Miss Susan, 9 years.
I told you, Christine. Yes, thank you. It's definitely been interesting.
Thank you guys very much for all your years of service. All right, we have Miss Diana Sneed, our program director, giving an update.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for logging in today. It's really great to see everybody participating. I have 2 topics that I'd want to hit on today. Some changes that are coming up is during my readings of everybody's notes, and I read everybody's stories here, and you guys, some of you write such wonderful notes. I feel like I'm sitting in the room with you and I'm right there beside you, observing parent-child visits or with you, with your children's visits and things like that. I'm enjoying every minute of it. So one of the really great things that you guys have been noting is your contact with parents when there are still parents involved in the case. Texas CASA has also decided that that is a very valuable thing that we should be providing, is keeping updated with the parents. And so they're asking that we do that in a new standard that's going to start on September 1st. They're asking for our volunteers to contact the parents monthly or document attempts with parents monthly in order to find out what their plans are for their children and what progress they're making to remove the situation that had led to this removal in the first place. So when we talk about the court reports a little later on, we're going to also talk about some other things that we could be getting from the parents, other information, and just be an encouragement. We had staff that went to the state conference last week or so, 2 weeks ago, and they heard from a lot of former foster youth. And their main big question was, why didn't somebody help my parents more? Why didn't somebody help me get back to my parents? You know, why did it have to be so difficult? And why did I have to go from home to home or facility to facility and age out of this system here? I really wish somebody would have fought for my parents. And so, you know, that way, every time we do what we can to check on the parents and things like that, that gives them a little hope that this whole system is not against them. our best interest, we know, is to get the children home as quickly as possible, as soon as it's safe as possible for them to go home. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but when it does, it's a great outcome. So when you're working with the parents, I know many of you are seeing them before and after their parent-child visits. You're seeing them at court. You're seeing them at other services that they're engaged in. You're already talking to them. You're already documenting that. So it's not going to be a big leap that you'll be doing that every month. There are a couple occasions of that you might not be able to talk to the parents if they are incarcerated or if they are participating in some type of rehabilitation program. You might not get to, but make sure that you document your efforts or document where the parents are, and that's how come that you're not able to visit with them or have that monthly contact. And the other reason you might not be able to is some of the parents have gotten attorneys who would say, you can't talk to my clients without me being present.
Thank you.
And so we do have that, but I've noticed even some of our more difficult attorneys to work with have been working with our supervisors and their volunteers to schedule periodic phone calls with their clients and things like that. So it might not be every month, but they have been able to have some of that interaction with the parents and to find out what their parent has in store or what they're planning for if the children are returned to them. So it's really a good idea to visit with the parents, with other parties, if you like, with your supervisor, with CPS, with the ad litem. But it's very important that you have one-on-one with them yourself and build that relationship, because you really are a non-threatening party in this whole situation. And you may end up having a much better relationship with the parents and some of the other parties. So please be open-minded to them and hear what they have to say as you're making your decision about what's going to be in the best interest of the children that you are working with for the future. So that's my thing on our monthly contact with the parents. If you have any questions, you can talk to your supervisor about it. You can call me anytime. I'd love to talk about what it is that you're doing and give you an opportunity to brag to me what you're doing, because I love that too. So as we implement that beginning September 1st, next month. So do we have any questions yet?
Yeah. Of course, it's got to be me.
Of course it does.
I have what is she called? She's a guardian for the guardian ad litem for one of the dads, or one of the parents, and then the regular attorney.
Mm-hmm.
We are not allowed to speak to them, period, whether they're there or not about the case. We can talk to them about the weather. We can talk to them about it. We are not, period, to discuss the case with them.
Okay.
Period.
Be sure and put that in the Optima notes.
Okay. That's what well, it's been in there the whole time, because we can't ever get the attorneys to participate in a conversation with them, even at court.
Okay.
But I mean, like on our visits and stuff like that, we can talk to them, but it's strictly about the weather. We can't even discuss the children with them.
Oh my goodness.
Which I think is wrong, because they do ask, how are they doing? They see them all the time, but still, how are they doing in school? Well, everything's fine. And that's it. So, but that's been on my notes. But we're coming to a close on it, I hope, on the case. Okay. But it's just, I've talked to Christine about it multiple times. What are we supposed to do in a situation like that? Bring it up when we're in front of the judge, when we don't have an agreed order. I mean, when we do, we have when we don't go before the judge with an agreed order.
Well, that's right. So that's one of the good things about this new court report template, and there'll be a place to mark that in there.
Okay.
So the parties will know. And so if the parties that are keeping you from visiting with the parents don't want everybody to know that they're keeping their clients from, progressing this case,
right,
then they might consider a phone call from time to time.
Okay.
So, but right now, that's kind of where we're at, and we're attempting whenever it's possible.
So
So,
at least document that we attempted to talk to them.
yes,
I mean, I do talk to them, but it's just not about the case or their kids.
right.
So, I mean, I'm having the conversation 2 or 3 times a month,
Yeah.
but it's not, I can't answer a whole lot of questions. Now, if the caseworker's there, then she steps up and she can answer the questions, but she still gets in trouble because when the attorneys find out that they talk to the caseworker, you're not supposed to be talking to them without us present.
Wow.
So they're even doing that to the caseworker. It's not just
Wow.
CASA.
Well,
So-
it'll be good that we have this new court
Okay.
report template that's coming out, and it'll be a place for that in there.
That'll
So,
work. Thank you, ma'am.
sure
Diana,
thing.
can I add something to that?
You sure can.
Here's a suggestion because this actually worked. I had a similar instance where everything kept being in agreed order and I was very unhappy about what was happening. And I put my foot down and said, you know what, I'm not signing it. And so by me not signing it, we had no choice but to go to court.
Okay.
So if you are unhappy about something, don't agree to that agreed order. Say, I'm sorry, I don't agree with this. I want to go talk to the judge, and don't sign it. And it actually worked.
Well,
So
That's
it's
good
just a
to know.
suggestion.
thanks so much. Thank you so much. So, do we have anything else before we move on to the second one? Okay.
All
So
right,
the
we're gonna go ahead and move along.
Okay, one more thing before we go, Kelsey. Hold on.
Okay.
Don't get excited. School starts next week, many places, and we must not forget our educational advocacy. So I really want everybody to have that on their mind when they're visiting with their children and their placements in this coming month. I want you to find out who to talk to at the school, how to get hooked up in an email with them, how to log on to the parent portal, whatever it is that the school district has to offer where your CASA children are going. So it's so important to stay on top of their educational advocacy. So many of our kids move and move and move and have lost so much in their educational journey. We had so many of our CASA kids turning 18 in the last 12 months that are nowhere near finishing school. And so if we can stay on top of that and make sure that they're getting their needs met at school, if they're needing ARD meetings, let's have ARD meetings. If they're needing parent-teacher conference, let's have one. Let's get some tutoring lined up, whatever it's going to take to make sure that our kids don't fall between the cracks. So if you need any help, talk with the placement and find out about who to contact at the school to keep up with that. And if you need documents, talk with your supervisor about your appointment letters and things like that to make sure that you have all the documents you need so that the school will let you come on and they can share information. So please, let's start the school year off right and get some educational advocacy in there. Remember, it has to be documented at least quarterly, and we want to make sure that we stay on top of it. Okay, Miss Kelsey.
I need to say something real quick. Like, can y'all hear me? This is
Yes.
Jean Villarreal. Okay.
Yes.
There's I got an email today and I was looking over it. There's an educational advocacy guidebook on there that I was looking through, and it's really good. It has a lot of questions that I had about it, and it's a really good book. I believe, gosh, let me see. I was trying to find the link that it came from. I just downloaded it. But I can find it and give it to you
Okay.
already.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have anything to add? All right, then, Miss Kelsey. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So next up, we have Nick. I don't believe he's on with us today. So I'm just going to tell you what I think he would want you to know, and that is our wine pairing 2022 is going to be on November 11th this year. If you have any questions about that, definitely reach out. I know that they're still making lots of plans and going over all of that stuff since we have a couple months to go. Next up, we have Miss Monica. With her, she wanted me to let you guys know we do have a couple of booths this week. If you guys are able to attend, definitely reach out. You can reach out to myself or shoot her a text message. I know that she's been kind of under the weather. So today, this afternoon, we actually have the Southside Community Coalition from 3 to 7. If you are interested in joining, I believe Charlene is going to that one this afternoon. Tomorrow on August 4th, we have VISD Connections from 3 to 7. And August 4th as well, we have our Edna Elementary Back to School, and they are hosting an event, and we will have a booth set up there from 4 to 6:30. If any of our volunteers would like to go, we would appreciate you guys showing up. Just reach out, like I said, to myself, and I can get you guys more details on that.
And I'll be at the one tomorrow at VISD Connection. So if anyone wants to join me there from 3 to 7.
Okay, and then I think Darla is going to the back to school in Edna. So you can either reach out to me or Charlene, Christine, or Darla for those. And then also I wanted to add that Graf Chevrolet is hosting a school drive for our foster children. That is going to be this Saturday, August 6th from 9 to noon. So if you guys want to come and participate in that, we would love to have you guys.
Which one?
And Flora, we have our case spotlight. These are a couple available cases. Flora, if you would like to talk about them.
Hello, everyone. One of the main ones that I wanted to talk about was the B case. He is an 8-year-old boy with special needs. He came into care because of neglectful supervision. Parental rights have been terminated, and he is placed in a special needs home in San Antonio, Texas. This little boy is very sweet, loving. He is nonverbal. He does have, autism. And SB and I, we have looked into a few homes that wanted to adopt him, but of course it's really hard because he can't speak for himself. And so he really needs an advocate, a great advocate that would look out for his best interests and make sure that he's protected as well. And the other case I have is the M case, 2 little boys. They're very playful, typical toddlers, 3 and a 2-year-old. And that case is based out of Refugio County. They are placed back with their mother. So that one is more of a short-term case, but if anyone is interested, please reach out to me, and thank you so much.
And Flora, I just wanted to double check with that B case. Where is that one located out of? Is that Victoria?
That is a Victoria case.
Okay.
And I've been on that one since 2019. And like I said, he's very loving. He can't really, speak to you, but he will come and hug you, and he wants to show you like his room and, things like that he'll do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Flora.
You're welcome.
So now we are going to get into the nitty gritty of the court report changes. Some of the court report changes that you will notice once I pull that up and we go over it is service to the case. Down at the bottom of the first page, we are no longer requiring how contacts are made, just the date of contact. I know some of you guys are used to putting text message, face-to-face, video chat, all that good stuff. You no longer need to do that. You just have to put all of the dates that you made contact. Font and size. All of your court reports must be in size 12 Times New Roman, including your signature. And then Holly factors. With the Holly factors, using the Holly factors as a guide, the court report will focus on key facts needed to move the case toward permanency for the child and family. Any questions so far? And it'll make a lot more sense once I pull up the actual template. You guys can see it. All right. Some of the things that are remaining the same, just as a reminder, make sure that you have your court reports turned in 10 days prior to your supervisor. Recommendations, there should be a corresponding recommendation for any concerns listed under each party, and party being the child, the parent. And identifiers, just a reminder, you cannot include identifiers. Examples of that being teachers' names, school names, doctors, placements, names, locations. So we cannot use that in your court report. Holly factors. This is just going to be a list of the Holly factors. 1, the desire of the child. 2, the emotional and physical needs of the child now and in the future. 3, the emotional and physical dangers of one parent to the child now and in the future. The parental abilities of the individual seeking custody. The programs available to assist the parents. The plans for the child by these individuals. The stability of both parties' homes and any acts or omissions of a parent, which may indicate, that should not be another bullet point, sorry, which may indicate that the existing parent-child relationship is not a proper one. And finally, any excuse for the acts or omissions of a parent. And then just to touch again on what Diana had said, starting September 1st, standards have changed and you will need to make contact or attempt contact with the parent at least once a month and notate that in Optima. And give me one moment. I'm going to switch over to our court report template. All right, now can everyone see the court report template?
Can you zoom it up a little bit? Thank you.
Okay. So again, just going over it, the first page will look very similar, almost identical to what you guys are normally used to. Just restating, all court reports should be in size 12 times New Roman font. And then as you can see, everything's kind of left blank for you guys to fill in the blanks, and your supervisor will have that template all filled out for you per usual. So everything here is going to be the same. Date of assignment, identifying data. And then something here, this is what I was talking about, service to the case, that has changed. Here is where you're going to list all the dates. And then something that we did do is the educational advocacy and medical advocacy have been separated rather than being together like they normally are. Does anybody have any questions so far? Or anybody want to add? Supervisors, Diana, anything?
This is Joy. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes it is very difficult, as you guys know, to get information on medical. I guess that means on the medical advocacy, you want, is that where you want your dates of their dentals or their physicals and whatever, or like we were doing before?
That would be.
Diana, would you like to answer that?
Information. That would be at the date of the, anytime you get information, medical or dental, that would go on there.
Yes.
And then
And
also,
sometimes that's like pulling teeth. And
okay,
we don't
well,
get it.
also I have the health passports
Oh, okay.
that I'm
way better.
uploading to Optima, and I'll notify you when yours is uploaded so that you can review it, look at it and review it. And that date will go on your, you can put that on the court report.
Mhm.
And that's done quarterly, I believe, or every 6 months. Diana, is that correct? You can do it
The health passport, I
The
can
health
run it every
passport.
6 months.
every 6 months.
Yeah.
So the other times you can get information from any type of medical, the psychological evaluations is considered, a therapy notes is considered medical also.
Right.
What is acceptable for educational? Because lots of times we do not get invited to anything like ARDS or updates like that. So if we touch base with the schools or teachers or somebody, or if we, because we don't even get their we should.
This is
Normally, we don't
Charlene,
get their,
Ms.
we
Joy.
don't get their monthly, their reports from the school either.
Ms. Joy, sometimes you do better off just going into the school and getting with the parent liaison and just letting them know that, you know, you're there to advocate for that child, and you give them a copy of the TAC for ad litems. And then you also give them your court appointment paperwork, and that's put on file, and that's shared with everyone else who sets up those appointments. And
Yeah,
right then and there, you can get your report card.
Yeah, and I know the CPS caseworkers get all of that. Sometimes
It's like pulling teeth. You have to
yes,
ask them
trying
over
to
and
trying to
over
get
again.
it from
Yeah.
them even.
Yes, ma'am.
Until we see their court reports, and then we see where they have everything down.
Mhm.
And also the placements, wherever they're at, if they're an RTC, then they normally send a bulk of their documents once per month, normally around the 15th.
Yeah.
You should be added to that list as well. And the only way to get added to the list is to get with that child's case manager at the RTC or wherever they're placed at.
Okay, well, we'll keep trying. Thank you.
Well, if you need help, we can help you. You have to let us know.
Have to be that politely aggressive, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, just call me. I'll do it for you.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns so far? Nope. All right, so I am going to zoom out so you guys can get a general idea of what we're going to go in, and then I'll zoom back in to go over space by space. So this is going to be the new format for the court reports. Everything as far as information that you guys get is going to be the same. It's just going to be broken down into the bullet points of needs of the child, service to meet the needs, child's desires. So as you can see, it is changing up just a little bit. So zooming back in, we have the child, the date of birth, current placement, which is normal, typical things that you're used to. And then as well, the placement, I think this is where it usually says this is the third placement since coming into care since 2019. So that will all remain the same. And then the next up, you will have a description, brief description of the child. And then as you guys can see here where I have HF, that's going to stand for Holly factor. So we've broken it down which Holly factor goes into what spot. So needs of the child, the Holly factor that's going to be applied here is the emotional and physical needs of the child now and in the future. Examples of that can be counseling, medical, educational, sibling visits, services to meet the needs. Those are going to be your specific services that you guys want to include, such as therapy or ECI. Child's desire, the Holly factor here is going to be obviously the desires of the child. And for that, what do they want? What does that child want? And then here you're going to have cost of concerns, and you're going to bullet point any concerns, and you're going to use factual information only. Any questions, comments, concerns about this page? Or any supervisors want to add into this?
Well, just the only thing that we didn't actually, I don't recall discussing was the desires of the child when they are infants or toddlers, do we how are we going to address that in that section? Just put the child is unable to verbalize desires and leave it at that?
Diane, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. Of course, if children are 4 years old or younger
Or
It-
nonverbal.
or nonverbal, they cannot tell you what it is that they want to. Just note that under there that due to the child's age, they're not
Okay.
able to let me know
Gotcha.
or let CASA know,
But
of their desires.
if you are monitoring or observing the child with the parents, you can tell by the child's behavior if they are bonded and may want to be with that parent. If every time mom picks baby up and she screams, that's an indication that they're not bonded. And that may not be, the child may not desire to be with her because she's screaming every time mom picks her up.
So
Are we-
in
It
that
are
is
we-
instance-
probably, it is
are-
probably safer not to assume anything that you're observing. So if the child cannot tell you, it's best just to say they're not at an age to tell you.
I was gonna say, are we qualified to make that assumption?
Right, because that child might maybe not like the person's perfume or something, I don't know, but it could be something.
That's right. Maybe they fell when they got out of the car and they have a bruise and they don't want anybody to touch them there or anything like that. We don't want to just assume or interpret something that we're not really qualified to do that. So if the child is unable to, because of their age or other factors, like the child that Flora is looking for a volunteer who's 8 and nonverbal, we just need to put that in there.
Would we be able to document, not it looks like or whatever, we could just document what we see, a pattern, noted a pattern of when the child is picked up by, this is what the child does? Would that be okay?
Probably not under the desires of the child,
That would be probably under CASA's concerns.
Under the
Yes.
concerns, more likely.
more likely under a concern.
Okay,
And just remember, whenever we're doing the desires of the child, it's important for us to know what our kids want.
yeah.
It does not mean that that's what you're advocating for. Their attorney is supposed to be advocating for what they want.
Okay.
But, you are advocating for their best interest. But it's important for you to know what they're expecting to.
Okay.
We're gonna go ahead and move along. Next up, we have going into the parents. It is going to be a little bit more descriptive. So here you're gonna see mother, you're gonna add date of contact or attempted contact, right here. And then from there, you're going to have several Holly factors included, more so towards the parents than we saw on the child spot. So first, you're going to do the same where you're going to have a description of the mother. And the Holly factor here is going to be the parental abilities of the individual seeking custody. Next up, we're going to have needs of the mother. And those are going to be services needed expressed by the parent to CASA. Services to meet the needs. The Holly factor here is going to be the programs available to assist the parents. And for example, it's going to be specific services expressed by the parent to CASA. And then mother's desires. The Holly factor is going to be the plans for the child by these individuals. For example, how does the parent plan to execute? Here we're going to have the service plan progress. So any service plans that they're taking part of, you would list that there. And then down to CASA concerns for the parent. Holly factor, the emotional and physical dangers of one parent to the child now and in the future. Holly factor, the stability of both parties' homes. And I'm assuming that's supposed to be any, I apologize for my typo, any acts or omissions of the parent, which may indicate that the existing parent-child relationship is not a proper one. And then, sorry, Charlene's yelling at me from and then a Holly factor, any excuse for the acts or omissions of the parent. And in, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now if the parents are they're terminated, that nothing would go in there.
Correct.
Do we need to state that again, that their parental rights are terminated, or just leave it blank?
So in that instance, I believe that you would go ahead, because currently when you guys refer to the parent, it says parental rights have been terminated. We could go ahead and stick with that, get rid of all the body of everything else we just discussed, and just put parental rights have been terminated.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question. Thank you. And again, just a reminder, you will use factual information only. And Charlene, can you tell me what factual information only is?
Factual information is documented from the therapist, from all the professionals and paraprofessionals who are handling the case, and any firsthand knowledge that relates to the Holly factors.
Can you give me an example of something that is not considered factual information that you've seen from?
Something just to where you start off the sentence with "I believe" or "I think," just your personal opinion, and that could be anything according to, you know, how you feel about the kids or the parents, or if you say CASA believes the parents are not equipped to care for this child. You can't just say that. You have to say CASA has factual evidence that based on the therapist's recommendations, things like that, or according to the therapist's recommendations, the parents are not equipped to handle the children at this time and they need more therapy, or blah, 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 something like that.
Okay. Thank you
So
so
it has
much.
to be referenced to an actual professional, you know, that they're seeing, because again, we can't just give our own opinion of what we think.
Got it.
Okay.
All
can we
right.
use
So
the-
that's going to require us, CASAS, to try to have more contact with the therapists that they're seeing, because I know CPS gets reports, but they don't always let us know or forward those reports to us.
Joy,
they know
contact the therapist yourself. You know who they are, and normally
Yeah,
they will
I know.
cooperate with you.
Yeah, occasionally you get one that won't, but okay, is hopefully CPS caseworkers are going to be made aware of some of the information we will need to have, and or see what a change is going to be in our court reports, so that they can forward us more information.
Well, CPS is also getting ready to move out, and Belong is coming in.
Oh, yeah. Well, y'all have to train them right then, okay?
So that would be a
So-
different thing altogether.
And I think Diana's doing that. Or trying. She's trying anyway.
Well,
I
so
have a
far, most
question.
of the people that I spoke with from Belong, SJRC, they're very informative. And, you know, when you speak to them, they give you a lot of information. And so far, I've been getting paperwork that I need
Good.
on the cases that they're already on, as far as my adoption cases.
Yeah, good. Good.
Nice.
I have a question, Diane. We were talking about on the factual information and who we could use. Charlene, you mentioned like therapist notes and stuff. We can also use the psychological, correct? Because
Oh,
if we
of course.
we can
It's-
actually quote in our report what, you know, and I've done that.
Yes,
Mhm.
you
On
can.
the one, I've got one that we're doing now that I have 2 psychologicals that I have had to refer to regarding the parents, not the children, but the parents. And I have actually quoted in my report what is off verbatim, word for word, off of the psychological, what the recommendations are.
Yes,
Is that
you're
what
correct.
you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. That, you know, anything from ECI, as far as the parents, you know, their service plan that they're working.
Right, but I'm just saying, you know, this
Their
is
drug
from, you know,
tests.
CASA's concern is, you know, regarding the psychological that
Yes.
was done department wise and independently. And I've quoted in there what the concerns are. The recommendations and the concerns are all the
Yeah.
same.
You are correct.
Okay, thank you. I just
Yes,
wanted to
ma'am.
make sure. I didn't want to do nothing.
Yeah, none of that has changed. Most volunteers do keep with the factual information only, but I have seen some to where I'd have to take out and edit or change the wording for them, which is no problem. You know, we're here to help. So, you know, don't think that it has to be perfect when it comes to us. Please call and ask questions, anyone.
And that has changed too, because in the past we were putting the judges wanted to know our perspective or our opinion about what we thought, you know, what our vision, what we saw, what we would see. And so that's changed in these last years, because it was that way before, where the judge did want our opinion about how we saw things as compared to how CPS sees things. So we're kind of having to do a little bit of a shift here as to what the professionals are telling us now, rather than saying what we think about the situation.
Well, my concern on that, on any of this, is the fact that when we brought up the agreed orders and stuff, some of the stuff that we're going to need to now actually verbalize in court, because it doesn't agree with what CPS is asking or what a CPS is doing. By so not being able to put, you know, what CASA's basically concern is, or as an individual and the volunteer for these children and what's in their best interest, we're not going to be able to put this down there because it's our opinion. It's what we see, where opposed to some of the CPS workers only see the children once a month, or they have a CWA, so they're getting secondhand information. The attorneys, any of the attorneys, even the ad litems, don't even see the children. So we're the ones that's left to actually say, because we're the ones that are there and hands-on.
No, you're still gonna be able, don't get me wrong, Ms. Susan, you still, you know, give your actual opinion, but your opinion, it has to be based on something that's preventing them from getting their kids back, put it that way. You know, it has to relate to the case. I mean, I give my opinion all the time, but I say based on the therapist notes, this is what I think, because it's based off of that professional's information and also from my observance.
Yes.
So
What if
I'm
they-
not
what if-
saying you can't put that in there. It just has to be worded properly.
Right,
Yeah,
but if
because
we don't- if
often-
we're not hearing this from the therapist, like if you have a nonverbal child that doesn't see, you know, seeing therapists, but not verbal, but yet we're seeing something that CPS is actually not reporting, or the CWA is not reporting to the caseworker. This is something we see. That's our own personal observation. It's not coming from a professional or a therapist notes or from the caseworker.
Yeah, but if it relates to their behavior and or their care, you know, that the caregiver is providing, if it's something that they're not receiving, then you would be able to ask, okay, well, I observed this. Why is this going on? Why aren't we doing this? And then you can get that information to where that is factual, because this professional is basing that information or that answer off of their training. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So it can't just be your opinion.
Right, that's
Basically,
what I'm saying,
yeah.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It has to be based off of,
It's, from my understanding, it's pretty much going to be your opinion based off of factual information. So if the therapist tells you something, you have an opinion from what the therapist told you, but it's factual because the therapist told you. Is that correct, Charlene?
yeah, you have to have something to back it up. It can't just be you. No.
Well, sometimes these parents are not very honest oftentimes with their therapist. And they tell the therapist one thing and how well they're doing and what's going on and this and that and other. And then we as CASAs in visitations and with the children and talking with the parents, we see a totally different person.
Exactly.
And so
That's-
we can't, our
But it's-
opinions may not agree with the professionals because the professionals don't see the parents in the same setting that we see them.
It's not an opinion if you write it during a parent-child visit, CASA observed this behavior. You're telling the courts in the report, this is what I observed. It's not your opinion because you've seen it. This is what you've seen, and that's how you're laying it out. It's just the wording. We don't want to use CASA believes, CASA thinks,
Right, yeah.
CASA
Right.
observes, says we've seen this. This is what we're seeing. And
So
it,
we can say in our, based on our observation with parent-child visits, we,
CASA has noted.
yeah, this, that, and the other, which may totally be in contradiction to what the mother tells the therapist, how
Exactly.
she's going to interact or what she's going to do for her children.
Right.
correct.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? Thoughts?
Susan's right. We may have to start going back to court so we can say it.
Ms. Joy, I tell you, I'm really, and whoever the other young lady is, all I see is lunch. Like I am really, these agreed orders. I mean, I can see one or two, but when they're coming at every hearing, so
Yeah.
if you're doing it every 5 to 6 months, you go a year without going before the judge. I don't know what we need to do, how
You can
that can
come
be
work in
changed.
Lavaca County. We go before the judge every time.
Well, no,
Well,
the thing
but
is,
see,
you do not
it's-
sign
No,
the agreed
no.
order. You do
She's
not
right.
sign the agreed order.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Well,
most-
I can't say much because all my cases, the parents have been terminated. I haven't seen them or dealt with them in forever. And so it's just what's in the best interest of the children from time to time. And that's usually not an issue. So,
right.
you know,
And for the most part, as most of the time, the agreed orders are okay, but if there's some issues, but it's really what we're back to us as what's in the best interest of the children.
oh, I don't have
and
a
you
problem
did-
not signing it if I don't agree with
Right.
it. No.
Well, I'll give you one of my cases, Joy.
No.
I have a real issue with every time that, it's an agreed order, it's an agreed order, and it's agreed order. And you get told, you're catching pressure. Look, bring it on. I don't have a problem with it. We need to address this. So then they have this little meeting and everybody thinks it's been addressed. And then you get informed, okay, everybody has been informed. We have an agreed order. So here's the order, sign it. We've already discussed this. No. So it's time that, I don't know what we can do about that.
You have to notify your supervisor that you are not signing the agreed order. State your purpose for why you do not want to sign it. And then the supervisor will get with the DFPS attorney. And then at that point, they're going to try to sway you both
Oh,
to
yeah.
sign the order. They're going to make arrangements and they're going to, check with the other parties. And then they're going to try to work it out to where, they come to some type of compromise. And if that still doesn't work for you and you say, I want to go in front of the judge.
Yeah.
And we already know why. So, and then, that is your right as a CASA volunteer.
Exactly.
And that's what we
get
do.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well-
what we do already, Charlene, but it's just that it's almost she's talking about like every case is not being heard in front of the judge anymore.
It's
Yeah,
just every,
yeah, I know.
so you're doing every 6 months and it's like, no, we're making a written report to the court. Okay. But there are things that happen, say in that 2-week period, but and that it needs to be addressed. But yes, CPS is like, no, it's already done it. Their attorney's like, oh no, that's been taken care of. We're going to do this and this, and we'll address that next time. Next time comes around. Everything's right now is become an agreed order with everybody.
But that's when you have to band with the attorney ad litem, because when you and the attorney ad litem are on the same page and they're like, oh no, we need to get this done, we need to get this changed. If it's that important of a task that you want to accomplish something on the case for the child, you have to get your attorney ad litem in line with you, because they're going to push it through and they're going to make it work.
When
to
you
that
have
child
the
that,
attorney ad litem that is agreeing or making the suggestions with the CPS attorney and the other attorneys involved
Oh,
and the
my
department, and they're
Oh,
like, no,
goodness.
we're going to do it this way, and you don't need to make waves because and I'm going to say this, belongs coming in October, it'll be their headache.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. I'm sorry, Susan.
So I'm going to have to
I
be the
completely
one.
forgot about belong that fast, but yeah, some of them are
I'm the
doing
one,
that.
yeah, and I'm the one that's like, no, say the parents are not doing what they're supposed to do, or they're not, they're just not doing what they're not taking the responsibilities. They can't take care of the children. I have some problems with that, but it's like, there's nothing we can do. We don't have grounds for termination. We're coming up on trial. We don't have grounds for termination. So we're going to do PMC to the department. Parents are going to be possessory, and this can, we'll work with them up until Belong takes over in October. Then it'll be up to Belong to deal with them. No, so I just got informed that we're supposed to have a hearing on the 12th. We're not having it. It's been taken off. So trial is next month, and oh no, we're going to turn in the agreed order with or we're turning in the modified order for permanent managing conservator to the department. So it's over with. There's nothing.
So I assume you don't have a Belong contact at this point on the case.
Yes, I do.
Okay, have you gotten with that person?
Yes, and they're like, we have no idea. We don't even have that case yet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a case worker, but they have not been in contact with the CPS caseworker. They haven't done the parents. They haven't seen the children. They haven't actually got that particular case. All those are going to be coming in October 1st.
Don't we still have on the front page of the court order where we can sign them, but on the front page we check that we do not agree?
That's
Yeah,
correct.
that should still be on the order.
And if that's on there and you check that and then you sign it, if the judge even looks at it, he might question why, no, he
Right.
wasn't going to sign off on it until that's addressed.
Right. Well,
Or you would think they would do a Zoom court or something or whatever. Or
well,
appear.
that's just an issue that's coming up right now, and I have not, after all of these cases in years, I have not ever had it like this. But it's like, you're the odd man out. No, we're going to do this. There's nothing we can do. We cannot terminate. We don't have grounds. We're just going to do it like this. And with the department having PMC, it's going to be up to Belong after October 1st if they want to continue to have the parents work these volunteer services by service providers, because the department can't order them because it's a volunteer basis. So, we're going to just do this and close the case out basically with PMC to the department, and then Belong takes over October, and it's whatever they want to do. I have a problem with that. So can we sign, like Joy said, can we sign that front page? I mean, sign it to the point of I do not agree and sign it anyway, or just put do not agree and
Don't sign it.
It's just
Or
getting
you
ridiculous.
have to be careful before what judge you say, I'm not going to sign it. I've already gotten in hot water for that.
So
long
Diana,
story.
Is this something that maybe Tim can talk to the judges about solving this issue to get them to hear these cases versus just signing these agreed orders?
I think he has had that conversation with them before, and we can surely ask him to have that conversation again.
Because I think it's important that the judge does need to hear these cases to know what's going on.
And
it's because it's in our court report. It shows our concerns, and these are our concerns.
Right.
They're in black and white. But then you turn around and everybody signs an agreed order. So it's like, well, I guess it's being taken care of. No, the judge needs to be able to hear verbally, whether it's in the court report or not. Judge Williams always says, I've read your court report. Is there anything you need to add? Well, not really add, but I just want to say this is very important. This is really an issue for these children. The parents aren't capable of doing this, blah, 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 blah. At least he asked.
Well, when the state attorney or whatever presents it to the judge or says, the court orders have all been assigned, they can't say in agreement if on the front page you have checked, you do not agree with it.
Right.
And that I would think, it should be required of that attorney to tell the judge that when they present it, if they present it or however they present it, and stating that it was not an all agreed order.
Right. Well, if you look at it, that when the CPS attorney sends it out, it's already marked that CASA is an agreement. She's already got all the boxes checked.
But if we
So all you
tell
have to
them,
do is say
we
no.
tell them
Right.
you can sign it, but on the front page we do not agree, then they should have to check that box.
Right. She'll have to
And
go
then I
back
guess
and
that's
change
what
it.
And that's what would trigger, I guess, coming to court or having Zoom court.
Right. Because it's something that needs
I
to be
don't know.
addressed, and I don't know how to
Yes.
address it, but yeah, I mean, these agreed orders and stuff, that most of the parts were okay, but there are a few things that need to be said. And it's not, that opportunity's not there with everybody doing agreed order.
Well,
especially on
occasionally
cases
you'll
like
hear,
this.
you'll hear one of them say, last few times I've been to court, everyone has signed the orders, but
Right.
they don't say in agreement necessarily.
Right.
They just say everyone signed the orders. So maybe that needs to be more carefully watched either by the judge or someone.
Okay, thank
I
you.
don't know.
I appreciate everybody's input. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Kelsey.
So the father's page is going to be just a copy and paste of the mother's with the exact same Holly factors listed for the father as well. And then if I just want to kind of notate, if there's more than one father, it's going to be copy and paste the exact same thing. Same thing with the child, copy and paste the exact same thing, the same bullet points, Holly factors, so on and so forth. Then we're going to get down into recommendations. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to take any bullet point concerns that you've listed for the child, for the parents, and you're going to create recommendations and reasons based off of those bullet points. Make sure to reiterate your cost of concerns listed for each. If you have no concerns, then that child should be able to go home. Does that make sense? If you don't have a single concern about the parent, about the child, everything from there, that child should return home based off of your opinions. Not opinions. But if you have no concerns, they should go home. So from that, it's going to be listed. CASA respectfully recommends to the court your recommendations, your reasons, just like you guys are used to in the past. I couldn't figure out how to make them side by side, so that's why they look a little bit different there. And so going down here, once again, this is going to be what your signature looks like. You're going to /S/, type your name, and that's it. Diane, your turn, go.
I have one question, Kelsey. You said that on the concerns and stuff and on the bullet points for the parent, dad, mom, whatever. On this particular case that I was just talking about, I have no issues really with dad, no major concerns for dad. Mom is the major concern. Dad is actually learning stuff, so those would be different. And then of course that's going to change my recommendation because I'm going to state my concerns for mom still. But dad is actually making progress, but not to the point that I can say the children are ready to go home. He still needs a lot more.
Right.
Correct?
So with that,
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure this is one of your cases that you've been on for a hot minute. But with that, all the information that you're putting in here is going to be very, very similar to any information that you were including in previous court reports. So and this, not just Susan, but don't be scared of the new format because that's pretty much all it is. We're just asking that you guys, one, follow the new format where it's all broken down. And two, using those Holly factors. Any court report should be based off those Holly factors. So excuse me, with the information, like you stated, your concern's not with the father. You can put that in there.
Right.
Just the way that you would have put it in our previous court reports. You put that same information in there. It's mainly just breaking it down into where it needs to go. And then,
Okay, instead of making one paragraph of that, this is just going to be broke down into bullet points.
Yes.
And
so,
then condemn it, condense it with okay, y'all, I haven't had enough coffee yet. Condense it with the recommendations and the reasoning. We're going to actually I've already made the court report for this month, but that's beside the point. I'm going to actually break it down to my recommendation and reasons for mom, but I'm also going to use a different recommendation and reason for dad. Instead
Absolutely.
of combining them as mom and dad are doing this, blah, 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 and the recommendation is the same. It's not. I will actually
Right.
break it down into
separate.
ones. Okay,
Mhm. Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
thank you. Hi.
So does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? Nope. And your supervisor will have, they'll be there to help you any step of the way. And
Mhm.
what I will do as well is I will actually share this template in our newsletter that goes out on Friday. Just so that way you guys can have all of the information, like where the Holly factors are broken down into. You guys can keep that template. And then I'll share this as well. And then I have another page that just has some basic questions that you can ask the different parties to the case, the child, the teacher, the therapist, all that good stuff. I do have just a general basic list that we found that has different questions that you can ask to get this information from based on the Holly factors.
I have a question when we're done for Diana and Kelsey, if y'all can just stick around.
Sure. And if there are no other questions or anything, we can go ahead and wrap it up. Just be on the lookout for this template to be on the newsletter on Friday. And I'm sure I can convince Monica to also add it to our website. But thank you guys so much for joining us.
That would be great. Thank you.
Y'all did good.
Appreciate it.
Y'all did
Bye,
good.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank you guys so
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.